Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I thought that we could discuss this article I just read. I would really love to know your thoughts about this. Let's have a look at this article. More evidence emerges that dogs are skilled at sniffing out COVID-19. Creating a fast and reliable test to detect COVID-19 has been expensive and challenging, but new research suggests a cheap and effective solution could be right under our noses, or rather dogs' noses. Specially trained dogs are highly effective at sniffing out the presence of COVID-19 in human sweat, according to a new study, which bolsters existing evidence and suggests that dogs could play a key role in efforts to control the virus. So, the study in France and Lebanon trained 6 dogs for a month to detect the smell of patients who had been sickened by the virus. Researchers took sweat samples from more than 170 people, about half of whom were COVID-19 positive, and tested whether the dogs could differentiate between sick and healthy patients. So the animals with the least amount of training picked out the COVID-19 samples more than 76% of the time, and 2 dogs that were already trained to sniff out cancer had a perfect record in the study, detecting COVID-19 in the samples 100% of the time. The results could be detected within 1/10 of a second. More studies are underway to see if dogs can detect COVID-19 through saliva and urine samples. Health authorities across Canada have been given more than 3.8 million rapid tests for COVID-19, but most jurisdictions are treating them with caution and verifying the results of those tests with lab-based tests, still considered the gold standard. Lab tests typically take at least 1 day to process. Compared to rapid tests, sniffer dogs could provide a speedy and potentially even more accurate assessment of a patient's condition. When a dog detects COVID-19 in a patient, it signals using a standard sign such as barking or lying down, and the dog is then rewarded with a treat or a toy. It's not doing this out of the goodness of its heart, it's doing it for a reward. So, we can't say, oh, dogs are so great. No, they're doing this for their own selfish interests. Dogs are not altruistic, just thought I would make that clear. So, yeah, dogs have already been trained to sniff out bombs, drugs, and even certain kinds of cancer. For COVID-19, the dogs don't sniff out the virus itself. The dogs actually don't smell the virus, they smell for some molecules that are produced by the virus. Countries including Australia, Belgium, and Finland have already started putting virus-sniffing dogs to work. One Russian airline company is using dogs to sniff passengers before they board flights. One dog is able to sniff about 400 people a day. If you have 1,000 dogs in a country, that means that you can check 400,000 people in a day. Researchers in Canada are eager to begin training COVID-19 detection dogs here too. Dogs could be stationed outside hospitals, nursing homes, and other places to protect the elderly and those who are immunocompromised. So they think that sniffing dogs are the most rapid tests we have on hand right now. You get the answer immediately, you don't need to wait, and this is a huge advantage when we're trying to do contact tracing. So because lab tests typically take at least 1 day to process, using these dogs would just be a lot better. I want to know what you think about this. What's the deal with these rapid tests? Why are we treating them with caution? Can we not improve upon them, make them more reliable so that we don't have to verify the results with lab-based tests? Can't we make these rapid tests better? I think we can. Look at the technology we have. We can do amazing things. Can we not do this? To anyone who likes dogs, this sounds great. But people are forgetting, or they're just not aware, that 1 in 20 people have a crippling fear of dogs. Are these sniffer dogs going to be sniffing people, or are they going to be sniffing samples of sweat from the people that they could do like in another room behind the closed door where the person won't see the dog? Because if the dog is coming up to the person and sniffing them, if 1 in 20 people have a crippling fear of dogs, is this ethical? 15% of the population suffer from allergies to dogs. Is that ethical? To force these people to have contact with an animal that sickens them. Some people become deathly sick. They can have serious asthma attacks and die, when they're exposed to dogs. In the case of a phobia. And I have to tell you, I think it is ridiculous to call fear of dogs a phobia. People who are afraid of dogs have a very good reason to be afraid of dogs. Their fear is very rational. A phobia is defined as an irrational fear. When you're talking about an animal that is known for its propensity to attack people unprovoked, even after being the best behaved, well trained dogs for many years, you're very justified in feeling afraid of them. Animals that can put you in the hospital and disfigure you. They are all unpredictable. It doesn't matter how they are raised. It doesn't matter how you treat them. It has nothing to do with the owner. You cannot train a predator to not be a predator. You cannot love predatory instincts out of a bloodthirsty predator. You cannot make the dog other than what it is. A dog is an unpredictable predator. We are talking about animals that are responsible for 28,000 reconstructive surgeries every year in the USA. You're not irrational to fear these animals. 1 in 20 have a crippling fear of dogs. That's not including the people who have a fear that is not crippling, or who are just uncomfortable around dogs, who are disgusted by dogs, who hate dogs like me, who don't want to have any contact with dogs whatsoever. I do not want a dog sniffing me. I think it's great to screen people for COVID. I don't want to be on an airplane with somebody who's sick, but if the dogs can detect the molecules in the sweat, can we not work harder at creating some sort of test to detect these same molecules? How hard is it? We put a man on the moon. Look at our amazing technology. I can't believe that this is so difficult for us to come up with. And I think that if we are going to rely on dogs, then we're not going to work as hard at developing an alternative to dogs. I think that we need to work really hard at finding this alternative to dogs, a test that would, deliver results in less than a day. And, why not have the people come to the airport or wherever, have them be tested for the virus a day or two before their scheduled flight, so that the results will be back in time for their flight. I would be happy to go get tested a couple days before I'm scheduled to take off in an airplane. I would rather do that than be sniffed by a dog, and I'm sure that many other people would agree with me. I think dogs are I know they are absolutely disgusting. They have their noses and their tongues up their anuses multiple times a day. I don't want that coming near me. I don't want their noses touching me. So how do sniffer dogs work? Do they touch you? But even then, I don't like to be in the presence of a dog. I don't like to be in the same room with a dog. It makes me anxious. It stresses me out big time. Consider people who are afraid of snakes or spiders. Let's suppose that somehow snakes or spiders were able to detect these molecules in people. Would it be ethical to shove these animals into the public's faces? When the people come to board their flight, and you take a snake and you make the snake, come really close to the purse. This is not ethical, because, anybody in their right mind would say, no, a lot of people are afraid of these animals. Let's not thrust them upon the public. Or spiders. Let's let this spider crawl over you and see if it detects the molecules in your sweat. No, this is not ethical. You're causing people to panic, and that's just not right. Well, it's the same thing with dogs. I think that people here are neglecting to realize 1 in 20, a significant number of people, have a crippling fear of dogs. This is not ethical. I don't know what the answer is. But like I said, though, I think, just being tested a few days before you're scheduled to go somewhere. But even then, I don't know. I don't know. What's the answer? I don't know. I think that we need to work harder at developing non-dog solutions. I don't think that this should be considered a solution. It's not a solution. And another thing no one is talking about, especially with this, growing number of vegans out there who are apparently against animal exploitation, is it ethical to use dogs in this way? This is animal exploitation. If it is wrong, and more people now believe that it is wrong to use animals for entertainment, for food, for clothing, and I would say for companionship, is it ethical to use them to sniff out COVID? It is exploitation, animal exploitation. It's not ethical. Consider an alien species, a species that is more technologically advanced than we are, enslaving us and using us to detect something for their benefit. That's not ethical. It's not right to use animals. And this is using an animal. It's, crazy that people don't recognize that this is unethical, especially these vegans who are so against animal exploitation. Hypocrites is what they are. When you use dogs to sniff people at airports or at the entrances to nursing homes or whatever, you're making a lot of people very uncomfortable, potentially giving them panic attacks, triggering their PTSD. Look at how many people are bitten by dogs every year in the USA. 4.5 million people bitten. It's like 800,000 people that require medical care every year due to dog attacks. A lot of these people have, PTSD. Not to mention all the people who have had loved ones, family and friends disfigured or killed by dogs. And, to thrust a dog upon them is not fair. It's unethical. That's my thought about this. That's what I think about this. Now, I would just love to hear what you have to say about this. And I just want to let you know that I'm going to be preparing for the holidays, and I'll be doing a lot of baking and spending time with my family. So I probably won't be uploading until the new year. So I just wanted to wish you all a very dog-free Christmas and a dog-free New Year. And I'll catch you soon. The future is dog-free.